In the heart of the Andromeda sector, the great chamber of the Galaxy Council gleamed like a constellation of living stars. Hundreds of species floated in crystalline seats, their bodies shimmering with strange colors and forms. Some had wings of light, some had tentacles that glowed softly, and others had eyes that could see in all directions. Tonight the council was quieter than usual. Even the most confident voices carried a note of fear, for a single name had spread through the corridors like wildfire: Earth. No one truly knew where Earth was. It had been hidden in old maps and star charts, always surrounded by mystery and half-forgotten legends. Many thought it was a primitive world, small and fragile, a planet that could never matter in the vast galaxy. But whispers in the council told a different story. A story of power, a story of survival, a story older than most stars in the sky. Ambassador Lyrics of the Zarnai, a species with translucent bodies that shimmered with every emotion, floated to the center of the chamber. His voice shook as he spoke, though he tried to remain calm. There is intelligence in the core archives, a name, the true name of Earth. It is not what the humans call it themselves. It is— He paused, glancing nervously at the other ambassadors. It is Zypharian, and it should never have been awakened. The room fell silent. The word Zypharian rolled through the chamber like a dark storm. Some species had only heard it in ancient myths. Others had fought wars centuries ago where the name alone had brought armies to their knees. Zypharian was a name that carried destruction, a name that could bend stars and consume planets. It was a name that belonged in the stories of a galaxy long past, stories told to warn young species of dangers lurking in the void. Now, that danger had a home again. Earth had survived. Earth had grown. From the edge of the chamber, a human ambassador stood, calm, steady, and strangely unafraid. "We are Earth," they said, their voice carrying across the council hall. "We do not seek war. We do not wish to conquer. But we are strong. We are united. And we will not be ignored." Some of the council members laughed softly, shaking their heads. Humans were small, unarmed, primitive. They had no fleets to threaten, no ancient weapons to unleash. And yet, there was a fire in their eyes that could not be measured in technology or armies. It was raw. It was unyielding. It was something older than fear itself. Lyrics's hands shook as he continued. "Do you understand the meaning of this name? Zypharian. To awaken it is to stir storms that topple civilizations. Entire empires have fallen because of it. If your kind continues to grow, if your power continues to rise, it will become a force that no galaxy can control." The human ambassador nodded slowly, as if he already understood every warning. "We understand, and we are ready. We do not seek war, but we will fight when threatened. We will survive no matter what. That is our nature. We fight for life, for freedom, and for our home." A silence fell over the council. For the first time in centuries, even the most powerful species felt something they had not felt before. Caution, unease, fear. Earth was no ordinary planet. There was something primal in humanity, something unpredictable, something that refused to bow to anyone. As the council adjourned, the stars outside the chambers seemed to flicker uneasily. Somewhere far beyond the known systems, echoes of ancient wars stirred in the void. Legends whispered of Zypharian's wrath, of planets turned to dust and stars snuffed out like candles. Back on Earth, humans went about their lives, unaware that the galaxy had begun to notice them. But the name Zypharian would never leave the halls of the council. It would travel from system to system, whispered with fear, respect, and awe. Tonight, the galaxy learned Earth's true name, and terror had begun to grip the stars. Far beyond Earth, in the silent void of deep space, countless eyes turned toward the blue planet. Ships of every shape and size, sleek, glowing, armored, slipped through the darkness, watching, analyzing, waiting. The galaxy had learned Earth's true name, Zypharian, and curiosity had turned to fear. Ambassador Lyrics of the Zarnai paced in his chambers aboard the council's flagship. His translucent form pulsed with light, each flicker reflecting his worry. "They are growing faster than any record shows," he whispered to himself. "Technologies, alliances, ships, and yet they remain united. No splintered factions, no betrayals. A species that stands together in a galaxy built on division, this is impossible." On Earth, humanity was unaware of the silent judgment of the stars. Children laughed in sunlit parks, Engineers worked on new spacecraft and soldiers trained on remote planets, preparing for challenges humanity did not yet fully understand. They lived as they always had, resilient, hopeful, and determined. But the galaxy did not see them as humans saw themselves. To the ancient species, Earth was an anomaly, small, unassuming, yet radiating a force that could not be measured. It was not the size of their fleets or the strength of their weapons that terrified the observers. It was their courage, their refusal to bend, their stubbornness in the face of overwhelming odds. Admiral Takara of the Vroth, a reptilian strategist feared across 12 sectors, studied the latest reports. "They fight differently than any species we have known," she said, her claws tapping nervously on the console. "They improvise. They endure. They never surrender. Even when outnumbered 10-1, they find a way to strike back. And their unity, it is unnatural, dangerous." Among the council, debates raged. Some called for preemptive strikes, fleets to bombard Earth before it could rise further. Others urged caution, fearing that provoking the humans would awaken something uncontrollable. Lyrix remained silent, haunted by the memory of ancient records. He remembered the old wars, the empires that had vanished, and the whispered name, Zypharian. To awaken it fully could bring chaos to the stars, and yet Earth continued its quiet rise. Humans explored the void with cautious optimism, forming alliances with neighboring systems, learning faster than anyone expected. Their ships moved in patterns that seemed simple at first, but they concealed strategies no alien could predict. Every skirmish they fought, every threat they faced only strengthened their resolve. The first probes of the galaxy reached Earth's outskirts. They observed cities shining like jewels, armies drilling with precision, and a population that seemed ordinary yet unshakable. They saw humans risking everything to save others, fighting with determination, showing compassion even in the midst of battle. And for the first time, some alien commanders felt a flicker of respect, mixed with fear. Back at the council, Lyrix's voice trembled as he warned, "The galaxy will not wait long. They will send fleets. They will watch, and yet, even if war comes, Earth may not fall. They are not like the others. They do not fight because they must. They fight because they will not be ruled. They fight for honor, for life, for home. This is what terrifies me most." In orbit above their homeworld, humans looked at the stars with quiet determination. Captain Aiden Kane of the Earth Fleet stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, watching the darkness beyond. "We don't know what waits out there," he said to his crew. "But whatever it is, we will face it. Together. We do not bow. We do not run. We survive. That is who we are." The galaxy watched, waiting for a spark. And in that silence, fear grew among those who had thought themselves masters of the stars. Earth had awakened. Zypharian had risen. And no one, not the council, not the fleets, not the ancient empires, could predict the storm that was coming. Tonight, the eyes of the galaxy were fixed on a single blue world. And for the first time, they realized that the most dangerous force in the universe was not the largest fleet, the deadliest weapon, or the oldest empire. It was humanity itself. The calm of deep space shattered like glass. On the edges of the Sol system, a fleet of alien warships appeared, their dark hulls glinting with deadly intent. They were the first to respond to Earth's rise, their purpose clear: test, intimidate, or destroy. The galaxy's fear had become action. Captain Aiden Kane stood on the bridge of the Resolute, eyes scanning the view screen. The fleet was massive, far larger than any human formation, yet he felt no fear. He turned to his officers, his voice steady and firm. "We fight to protect Earth, not for conquest, not for glory. But we do not bow. Prepare the defense grids. Launch interceptors. Stay calm, stay together. We will survive." The alien commanders had expected fear. They had studied humans from afar, noting their small numbers, their fragile ships, their simple weapons. They believed superiority would ensure obedience. What they did not expect was the human way of fighting, a combination of instinct, courage, and unshakable unity. As the first missiles streaked toward Earth, human interceptors moved like shadows, weaving through space with surprising precision. Engineers on the Resolute coordinated every defense, recalculating trajectories, adjusting shields, and sending encrypted commands to smaller ships. Humanity's weapons were smaller, simpler, but they were fast, clever, and relentless. Aboard the flagship of the alien fleet, Commander Rex snarled. They are too organized, too fearless. This is impossible. They should have fallen already. His tentacles twitched as he studied the humans' movements. Every strike, every maneuver seemed unpredictable yet perfectly timed. Humans fought not as individuals but as one living organism, reacting as if guided by instinct alone. Below, on Earth, civilians watched the sky. Satellites flicker. Red warning alarms sounded, but there was no panic. Schools became shelters, cities went into emergency protocols, and families huddled together. Not in fear, but in quiet determination. Humanity was ready. They always were. The battle escalated. Alien ships fired beams that could tear planets apart, but human defenses adapted in moments, redirecting shields, collapsing energy fields, and striking back with pinpoint accuracy. Every lost ship was replaced by ingenuity. Drones assembled mid-battle, ships repaired faster than expected, tactics evolved in real time. Captain Kane's voice rose over the comms, calm yet commanding. Do not fight for survival alone, fight for each other. Protect your brothers, your sisters, your home. They will not take it from you while we stand together. And that unity became the turning point. The alien fleet, though larger and more advanced, could not break the rhythm of humanity. Every human ship seemed to anticipate the enemy's moves, every strike countered with skill and precision. The battle was fierce, chaotic, and terrifying, but it revealed something the galaxy had never truly seen, a species that refused to yield. Commander Rex's fury grew. They are unnatural. They should be weak. How can this small species resist me? His fleet faltered as humans pressed forward, striking key targets, disabling engines, and forcing retreat after retreat. When the dust settled, only a fraction of the alien fleet remained in orbit. Human ships, though battered and scratched, hovered with quiet triumph. Earth had not only survived, it had shown its strength. Humanity had faced the galaxy's first real test and had emerged victorious, not through sheer power but through unity, courage, and ingenuity. On the bridge of the Resolute, Kane breathed deeply, his gaze on the blue planet below. They will not forget this day, and neither will we. We fight not because we enjoy battle, but because we must protect our home. And we will always fight, always. Across the stars, whispers began again, this time not just of fear but of respect. The legend of Zephyrian was no longer just a name in old records. It was alive, and it belonged to Earth. The galaxy had learned something terrifying that day. Humans were not just survivors. They were unstoppable when united, and the wars to come would never be the same again. The first clash had ended, but the galaxy was far from calm. Alien fleets retreated, licking their wounds, yet their fear had turned to something darker. Calculation. They could not defeat humans in direct combat. They could not break their unity. But the galaxy had patience, and patience bred strategy. In the council's chambers, debates raged. Ambassador Lyrics floated quietly, observing the chaos. Earth is unlike anything we have ever faced, he whispered to a fellow ambassador. They are not just strong. They are relentless. They fight with heart, not just weapons, and they inspire others to stand beside them. This is dangerous. Commander Vrek of the Vroth paced the council floor. Direct assault is useless. Our fleet could be destroyed again. We must think differently. Sabotage, deception, divide them. Strike where they least expect it. His eyes gleamed with cruel intent. The galaxy's ancient empires were beginning to plot. They would use every tool, every trick to stop Earth from rising further. Meanwhile, on Earth, humanity prepared quietly for what was coming. They did not fear the galaxy, they understood it. Scientists analyzed enemy strategies. Diplomats spoke to neighboring systems, and military leaders trained new recruits. Every citizen knew that the universe was watching, and every citizen knew that Earth would not bow. Captain Kane walked through the bustling spaceport, watching engineers repair ships and young pilots practice maneuvers. His heart swelled with pride. Every person here matters, he said softly to his second-in-command. Every life, every effort, every choice. They may have numbers, they may have power, but we have unity, and they cannot understand that. That is our greatest strength. The first attempts at sabotage came quietly. Alien spies tried to infiltrate human outposts, planting false information. attempting to turn systems against one another. But humans had expected this. Every outpost was connected, every action double-checked, every report verified. The spies were caught before they could cause harm. Some were even convinced to switch sides, awed by humanity's courage and fairness. Elsewhere, diplomats from Earth traveled to nearby star systems. They did not ask for alliances, they offered partnerships. They shared technology, defended weaker species, and helped colonies rebuild after past conflicts. Slowly, humans were weaving a network of loyalty that no empire could dismantle. The galaxy began to see that Earth's strength was not in warships alone. It was in its people, in their values, in the respect they inspired. Yet shadows continued to gather. The Council watched every movement of humanity, calculating, plotting, and whispering their fears. Every planet that welcomed humans became a potential target. Every new alliance made enemies nervous. The galaxy had underestimated one thing. Humans did not just survive, they expanded hope. And hope spread faster than any weapon. In orbit above Earth, the Resolute prepared for the next challenge. Captain Kane and his crew studied star maps, looking for signs of approaching fleets. They knew the galaxy would not rest, and neither would they. "They will come," Kane said quietly, his eyes on the stars. "They will try everything. But Earth stands together. And as long as we do, no one, not fleets, not empires, not ancient names, can break us." On the Council's flagship, Lyrics observed humanity again, a mix of fear and awe in his shimmering form. "They are different," he murmured. "Not just clever, not just brave, they are alive in a way the galaxy has forgotten. They will not bow. And if we are not careful, they may change everything." The galaxy's shadowed whispers spread. Fear turned into caution, caution into respect, and respect into unease. Everywhere the story of Earth, the planet that refused to kneel, was told in secret. Zephyrian was no longer a name of myth. It was real, and it was rising. As Earth turned quietly beneath the stars, its people continued their lives, building, learning, preparing, loving. They did not seek to terrify the galaxy. They simply refused to be ruled. And in that refusal lay a power that no empire could calculate, no fleet could crush, and no ancient legend could extinguish. Tonight, the shadows of the galaxy were longer, darker, and more cunning. But Earth shone brighter than ever, and humanity was ready. The quiet before battle never lasted long in the galaxy. From distant star systems, fleets moved like shadows, converging toward Sol. Ancient empires, once rivals, now united in fear of Earth, Zephyrian. They had watched, calculated, and now they were ready to strike. Their fleets were massive, armed with weapons that could vaporize continents and crush planets. But Earth was ready. Humans had watched the skies, studied every movement, and learned from every previous encounter. Captain Aiden Kane stood on the bridge of the flagship Resolute, his eyes calm yet burning with determination. "They think fear will make us bend. They think numbers are enough. They are wrong. Humanity does not bow. Humanity does not run. Humanity survives and fights for every life." The first wave hit at the edge of the Sol system. Alien energy beams lit up the void like deadly lightning, slicing through the darkness. Their weapons were powerful, designed to break defenses in moments. Yet human ships moved with precision, weaving through attacks, shields absorbing strikes, and countermeasures disrupting enemy targeting. Every pilot, every engineer, every soldier acted as one heartbeat, one mind. On Earth, people watched the skies not in terror but in solidarity. Families huddled together, praying, helping, or simply holding hands, trusting that humanity's spirit would not falter. Children whispered encouragements to one another, unaware they were part of a story that would echo across the galaxy. Admiral Selene, Earth's fleet commander, gave orders with calm authority. "Do not panic. Do not falter. Protect the civilians, protect each other, and strike when opportunity comes. We are not here to die, we are here to survive, and we will show them the strength of unity." The battle raged. Alien warships fired with deadly precision, but humans responded with ingenuity. Smaller interceptors darted through massive enemy hulls, releasing drones that sabotaged engines and communications. Missiles split and rerouted, decoys exploded, and shields shifted to absorb the brunt of attacks. Every time the enemy thought they had an advantage, humans adapted, countered, and pressed forward. Captain Kane watched, his chest heavy with responsibility, yet filled with pride. They believe fear can stop us, he said quietly. But fear is meaningless when we fight for each other. Every ship, every life, every hand here matters. Together we are unstoppable. Alien commanders could not understand it. Commander Vreck's voice trembled with rage over the comms. How do they fight like this? We outnumber them 10 to 1. Every strategy, every weapon should overwhelm them. And yet, his fleet faltered again, ships disabled, retreats ordered, morale breaking. The humans were unpredictable, their tactics clever, their courage unshakable. Then came the moment that would be remembered across stars. A massive alien cruiser, flagship of the strike fleet, moved to obliterate Earth's orbital defenses. Hundreds of human ships swarmed it, their movements chaotic yet synchronized. They struck weak points, disrupted power cores, and in a single coordinated effort, the giant vessel exploded in a brilliant storm of fire and debris. The shockwave rattled near. By fleets, and the alien forces began to retreat in confusion and terror. From orbit, Earth glowed peacefully beneath the chaos above. Captain Kane looked down at the planet, a calm smile on his face. They came to destroy us, he said, but they only reminded the galaxy that we will never be ruled. We fight not for conquest but for life, and life always finds a way. Across the stars, whispers spread once again. The name Zephyrian was no longer just fear, it was awe. The galaxy had seen the humans' courage, their cleverness, their unity, and it had learned a dangerous truth. Earth could not be crushed by weapons, empires, or ancient might. Tonight, the galaxy had attacked humanity with all its power. And tonight, humanity had not only survived, they had proven that the spirit of a united people was more powerful than any fleet, more dangerous than any weapon, and more unstoppable than any legend. The stars were alive with fear and admiration. And from the blue world below, a new chapter of humanity's rise began. A chapter that would echo across every corner of the galaxy, reminding all who watched that Earth, Zephyrian, would never bow. The skies above Earth were calm again, but the galaxy's watchful eyes had not turned away. Humanity had survived the first great strike, and the echoes of that victory spread across star systems like wildfire. For some, the name Zephyrian had become a warning. For others, it was a story of courage too dangerous to ignore. Captain Aidan Kane stood on the deck of the Resolute, staring at the blue planet below. Cities glittered, oceans shimmered, and clouds moved like delicate brushstrokes across the surface. Life continued as always. Children laughed, workers labored, families embraced. And yet beneath the peaceful surface, every human knew the galaxy had changed. Humanity had revealed its true power, and it would never again be underestimated. Admiral Celine addressed the fleet, her voice steady and full of pride. We have survived their might, but we are not finished. Every attack, every challenge teaches us, strengthens us, and unites us. Remember this, we do not fight because we want to. We fight because we must, and together nothing can break us. Humanity did not respond to fear with fear. They responded with action, intelligence, and heart. Engineers worked tirelessly to improve ships and defenses. Scientists shared knowledge freely, teaching allies and neighboring systems to build better technology. Diplomats visited hesitant star nations, offering protection and friendship. Every human action reinforced a simple truth. They were not alone, and they would not be controlled. Meanwhile, the galaxy's fleets lingered at the edges, hesitating. They sent envoys to study humanity, to test their resolve, but found no weakness. Every attempt at deceit, manipulation, or intimidation was met with clarity, compassion, and courage. Humans did not just fight. They inspired, they united, and they turned threats into opportunities. On one distant moon, Ambassador Lyrix watched humanity's rise with awe and fear. They are different, he whispered. Not just clever, not just brave. They do not act for glory or domination. They act for life, for family, for each other, and in that they are unstoppable. Back on Earth, Captain Kane walked among civilians and crew, listening to their stories, sharing small moments of laughter, and offering encouragement. Every person here is a part of this, he said softly. Every choice, every hand, every voice matters. We are not just surviving, we are shaping the future. And the galaxy will see that we do not bow to anyone. Across the stars, whispers spread again. Neighboring systems who had once feared humanity began to approach, offering trade, knowledge, and alliances. Even some former rivals hesitated, unsure if they should challenge a species that had not only survived overwhelming power, but had done so with heart and unity. Sci-Fi was no longer a myth or legend. It was a living example of courage, intelligence, and resilience. In the council chambers, the ancient empires debated desperately. How could they stop a species that refused to bend, that turned every threat into strength? Every plan seemed too weak, every strategy too slow. And while they argued, humanity continued to rise, quiet yet unstoppable, proving that true power was not in weapons alone, but in unity, intelligence, and heart. Captain Kane returned to the bridge of the Resolute as night fell over the planet. The stars sparkled above, silent witnesses to Earth's resilience. "We fight for our home," he said quietly, "for the people we love, for the lives we protect, and for the hope that shines in every human heart. They may fear us. They may challenge us, but they cannot stop what we are. We are humanity, and we will always rise." The galaxy was learning a lesson it had forgotten. Fear could never control a species that loved life more than it feared death. Sci-Fi was no longer just a name. It was proof that courage, unity, and heart could overcome any empire, any weapon, any darkness. And on Earth, life continued. Not in hiding, not in despair, but in hope, strength, and preparation. Humanity had shown the galaxy that it was not only alive, it was unstoppable. Tonight, the rising tide of humanity spread silently across the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Across the galaxy, fleets once confident and arrogant now hesitated, unsure how to challenge Earth, Zephyrian. Every system, every empire, every council member remembered the battles, the ingenuity, the courage, and the unity that humans had shown. Humanity had risen from legend to reality, from whispers to a force no one could ignore. Captain Aidan Kane stood on the bridge of the Resolute, looking out at the countless ships gathering beyond the Sol system. The galaxy had sent its greatest fleets, its most ancient weapons, its deadliest strategies, but none had broken Earth's resolve. And now, even in the face of overwhelming odds, humanity was ready to meet the challenge once more. Admiral Celine spoke to the fleet, her voice carrying calm authority and unshakable pride. "We have faced the galaxy's might before, and we have survived. We have endured, and we have grown stronger with every challenge. Today we do not fight for fear. We fight for life, for hope, for the future of every human being. Together, nothing can break us." The alien fleets advanced, their weapons glowing with devastating power. The ancient empires believed they could overwhelm humanity through sheer force, expecting Earth to crumble under the pressure. But humanity did not fight like any other species. They moved as one, ships, soldiers, scientists, civilians, all connected by courage, unity, and an unshakable will. Every strike, every maneuver was coordinated, creative, and precise. From the bridge of the Resolute, Kane watched his crew with admiration. "They think numbers will win," he said softly. "They do not understand what it means to fight for home. They do not understand humanity. As battle erupted, humans demonstrated their true power, not only through weapons but through heart. Ships shielded weaker craft, rescuing them under fire. Scientists recalculated energy flows mid-combat, redirecting strikes and creating new defenses. Pilots risked everything to protect civilians and supply lines. Every human act carried meaning, and every act built momentum that no fleet could stop. The alien commanders faltered, their strategies crumbling against unpredictability, resilience, and unity. Commander Freck of the Froth realized with growing dread that he was facing something he could not control. "Impossible," he roared. "How can a species so small resist everything we throw at them?" But humans did not fight for conquest. They fought for each other, for life, and for freedom. And in that fight, the impossible became real. Alien ships were disabled, retreats ordered, and empires that had once been invincible found themselves questioning everything they had believed. Humanity's courage was more dangerous than any weapon, more terrifying than any fleet. On the surface of Earth, citizens watched the stars, feeling the battles above and the triumph of their people. Children whispered the name Zephyrian with pride, knowing it was a symbol of hope, not fear. Families held each other close, understanding that survival was not only strength, but love, unity, and determination. When the final wave of enemy ships turned to flee, humanity stood victorious. Earth remained unbroken. shining beneath the stars as a beacon of courage. Captain Kane looked out at the endless expanse, feeling both the weight and pride of their accomplishment. "We have shown the galaxy what it means to be human," he said quietly. "We do not bow. We do not fear. We rise always." Across the galaxy, whispers spread: fear, respect, awe, and something else, inspiration. Sci-Fi was no longer just a planet. It was a symbol of what it meant to survive, to unite, and to stand unshakable in the face of overwhelming power. Empires would remember, fleets would recalculate, and the name of Earth would echo across the stars for generations. And on Earth, life continued, peacefully, boldly, and proudly. Humans built, explored, loved, and defended. They had faced the greatest forces the galaxy could send, and they had endured, not because they were the strongest in size or weapons, but because they were the strongest in heart. Tonight, the galaxy remembered. Humanity had awakened, and no one could ever forget Zyfarian again. The legend of Earth was alive, unstoppable, and eternal, and in the quiet, Captain Kane smiled. "We are humanity," he whispered to himself, "and we will always rise."